Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to make a start on fitting the electronic loom to this GP, and I'll go through explaining what I'm going to achieve. We're going to be fitting electronic ignition, upgrade from Scootertronics. We've got the CDI stator plate to fit, wiring loom, switches, etc. So keep watching and see how we get on with it. Thank you, bye. Right, in today's video we're going to start with a headset. I'm going to remove the switching wiring. If you can see, it's in quite a poor shape of repair, needed upgrading, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Right, we're going to start with disconnecting the headlight wiring loom assembly. Sorry for the wobble there. Typical of what can happen to a Lambretta over the years. People add and take away bits and bobs and cut cables and struggle with electrics, and I don't know why, to be honest with you. Let's get rid of that. Remove the earthing. Right, you can see it's okay. Switch screws are already out and the wiring's there, so we'll just pull that through. We're going to be replacing this switch with the one that I wired up in a previous video, if you've been watching the series. And there we go. Let's take off that tape. Right, so we've got our switch out. If you remember, that's our replacement switch. I'm just going to remove the two screws holding it. Dab of grease on the cable, and also just inside here where it's fed through on the rods. Just put a dab of grease on. Ideally we'll be using like a talcum powder for this. I'm going to actually take off the rod and move it up and down a bit. Just get a screwdriver on these. Right, I've got the rod out, just makes it easier to put the loom in. Poke the last two through. Here we go. I want to get the wires mixed in around. The front brake cable. Right, so in we go. Pulling on that one. Feed down and pull. Down and pull. Again, I'm not pulling very hard on the cable. Don't want to stretch anything. We just need it through around the right way. Dress that nicely in. Right, put our 2 screws in. We're not tightening anything up at the moment because I need to do tests. So, number 1. And number 2. Right, what we're going to do now is re-grease up the rod, refit the rod in, and put the pin back in. So that was a bit loose as well. Now put some grease on the throttle. Take our rod, put some grease on the rod. Ah, that's not very good. There is no washers on there. I will tell the owner. It's not a big job taking the rod out anyway, but there we go. To be honest, there wasn't a lot of play there on the rod. I'll stick that back in above. That's free. Right. Let's put our olive in, which is on there. And then clamp. Bottom. We're also missing the guidance for the cables as well, so we've got one there for the front brake, but we've got none for the clutch. So that's another thing I found that I'm going to have to tell the owner. It just makes the driving experience a hell of a lot better. Let's get a screwdriver. It's not a bad day, it's a bit nippy out there, but that's still moving fine. Brilliant. move the loom out of the way. Just checking that's nice and free, which it is. What we actually need to do is just push that over the top and put our pin in. What you can do is use a small drill bit that's smaller than the hole. That might be actually, yeah, that would be fine. There's no play there, which is a bit weird. There is play on the twist grip, but there's no play there. Normally you'd have little shims in there if needed. That's banging line, so take our drill bit out. Just looking for the pinched up side, which is that way. Right back in the handlebar, and just give it a little knock with a hammer. There we are. That's about fine. You can see that nice and free. We'll loosen up a bit as well. We've actually got our new headlight connector block, but I'm not putting that on yet. I'm just going to do the wiring, get the wiring sorted out, give that a clean. My wife's old woolly socks, as you do. Give that a nice wipe. Keeps everything nice and clean. Right, this cable here, or this wire I should say, will go down the front. That's your horn. Let's get that out of the way. I need to cut that down in a bit. So that will go behind. Back a bit. Oh, those pliers gone. And the pink one on this side. Well, that would go in the pink. It down a bit more, so as you're looking at the front of the bike, the left hand side into the horn, that's in, right behind there. What I tend to do is just put a nice coil over. That's perfect. Wiring loom down next, because we are actually changing that. What I'll do is I'll just move the bike over, and we'll film from the offside as it would be on the road, and we'll show the connections from the loom, although I can start at the top. I'm trying to get as close as I can with the camera, so we will start with the loom at the handlebar end. That's our electronic loom again, so we're looking for the handlebar end on there with a cable holder, and vice versa on there. In around the side, bring that down out the way. Actually, I'm going to make that nice and neat by going under. Pull that down and keep that under there as well. So in effect, that's what your handlebar should look like. Right, so I'm just going to move the scooter across and the camera. Right, so hopefully that's a bit clearer now. We can see where the loom goes through. So I'm going to undo these aluminium there. So we're running our wiring loom down and across into the switch, up and under. They go over the top of the cables. I will be sorting out these cable routing in as well, because they don't look very good. We're missing a dust shield. And this is the problem when you buy scooters from so-called restorers, that they bodge stuff, and you know, you've got to remember it. Years ago they weren't worth what they are today, so I suppose you can excuse some of it. Right, we're going to go down the far end now. It's a bit darker down here, but hopefully, again, what I'll probably do is I'm going to drop the camera to the floor so we can see a bit more in here, because it really is a dog's dinner. Right, I hope that's not too dark, but we've got a junction box there which is coming out, the CDI, and in the case the regulator, which is up here. We're going to be removing that as well, and this has got a mod charger as well fitted to it, which we're going to stick back on again in due course. So I still need to get the rest of the loom through here, and take off the rest of these aluminium, or try to anyway. The pliers in there. Can actually break these because we have got some new ones. So that's a plastic one there, or is it? Yeah, that's a plastic one. Again, it should go under the airbox, but whatever. That one's out the way. So our loom again is going to be free all the way back here. Take off the cover, and we can disconnect the lot because we're not using half of this stuff. So do the cover again. Just take one cable out at a time. I don't know what that bung on the top of it is, but that bit there, it's coming off anyway. We don't need it. And again, take your cables off one at a time because it is still quite tight. Right, there's our loom. Again, probably easy to unbolt that. It's only being held in with one, looks like an 8mm. Right. Our regulator out. Just a 3-pin regulator, ground, AC in, AC out. It's an 80 watt. And wiring for our CDI. I'm just going to go on the other side and show the CDI coming off. Again, that CDI is only held on with one bolt. We shall remove that. More wondrous rubbish. Hey ho. Right. Right, so we've got our CDI and cables away. It's the Screwtronics CDI. It's got the LEDs on it, or an LED. Pins are bent there. That can be just left dangling, or we can actually disconnect the cable, which is what I'm going to do. So our HT lead is off, and we've got our CDI nice and safe, and then we can pull our loom under. So I'm going to go back around the other side now. Excuse the wobbly cam. And pull our cables through. My friend's already disconnected the backlight, so I've not had to take off the backlight, so I'll just feed the cable through here, bit by bit again. These are our stator wires, and that's the loom disconnected, the old one. I'm just going to chuck that over there for the time being. Now I'm going to pull in our new loom. Right, I can see now. Go. Right, so my loom is going to go under, behind the carburettor, sorry, under the petrol rod, underneath, over the silent blocks, to the top of there. I'm not dressing anything at the moment, so it's just going to be pulled through. We can make it look nice and pretty afterwards. It couldn't look any worse than what was there anyway, so that's the way I look at it. It's an improvement, a vast improvement. So now we're going up this end again. And our wiring loom, which is here, is going to be fed up through the top hole down the petrol tank. So again, I'm going to go with the backlight ones first and in. And we've got our other two cables, which are cut out and AC power. So again, they'll go through there.
time.